Hi, I'm Joseph, co-founder of the Abundant Culture Fund, and today we are going to analyze an investment opportunity that can help you grow your retirement income faster and with less risk. So if you look at my screen, you'll see a listing. They named it Made in the Shade with 40% SDE. Now, SDE stands for Seller Discretionary Earning, I believe. It's something that I don't use a lot, so I almost forgot. But it's seller discretionary earning is basically just what the owner of the business gets to take home as a benefit, or the money that they get to use as a benefit after all the business expenses are paid. And this is a pool enclosure business, and it says it's COVID proven. And some of the things that stand out to me about this listing is obviously the 40% SDE. That's interesting. And also the fact that over the past 4 years, they've grown 57%, with 29% of that growth actually coming from 2020 alone. So they actually grew through the pandemic, which is actually very, very impressive. They say a lot of their business comes from BBB ratings, which is Better Business Bureau ratings, and also a lot of referrals from customers and home builders. So they work real closely with people who develop homes as well. Um, it says they will provide 90 days of training, which usually will negotiate for more a lot of times. They have 5 employees, and they're willing to seller finance 5% of the purchase price, which is basically seller financing is, hey, you don't have to get a loan for it. Just make the payments to me and you negotiate on what that payment actually looks like. And the reason that the owner is retiring, the reason that the owner is selling is because they're retiring. And they have a month to month lease, which could be a slight problem in some situations, but that's something that you could probably alleviate pretty easily. So let's dive into some of the numbers. So this is a calculator that I use to analyze pretty much all my investments for the fund. It gives me all the data, almost all the data that I need to make very sound investment decisions off of my fund. And it's a lot of data. So I don't want you to too much focus on anything that is not color coded, which there's only 3 numbers on here that are color coded, because it can get overwhelming and you can get very confused. I mean, even my business partner who understands these concepts, even when she looks at it, she gets very confused because it's just numbers all over the place. So don't worry about most of it. What I want you to worry about is the cash flow that this particular business would generate specifically for my investors, not just for the fund, not just for me, but specifically for my investors. A lot of funds like to say, oh, we can generate this return, but after they take out all their fees and their compensation, that's not the return that their investors are getting. So I specifically like to brag about the return that I can get my investors. So we're not going to analyze this whole entire thing because that would take forever, and most people don't want to know all that information. But what I want you to do is look here. 700,000 is the amount that they're asking for the business, and the business. Let me go back here for a hot second. Going into the numbers, the asking price is 700,000. It has a gross revenue of 1.1 million, and it has a EBITDA of 84,000 and a cash flow of 260,000. So this is a very good teaching moment. Sometimes the EBITDA will be different from the cash flow. Traditionally, the EBITDA is higher than the cash flow, but there's a lot of people who list businesses that might get confused between the difference between EBITDA and cash flow. And traditionally, the higher number will be EBITDA. So if you're ever looking at a business and the cash flow is higher than the actual EBITDA, odds are what they listed as cash flow is actually EBITDA. So in this situation, like I said in one video, I usually like to go with EBITDA, but in this situation, this looks like it might actually be the EBITDA of the business, which is why I went with that. And Yeah, did it list the assets of the business? This one didn't list the assets of the business. So let's take that 261,000 and input it into this little calculator here. As you can see, if my investors invest 700,000, which is the purchase price, into this business, they would get paid. My investors, not just the fund, my investors would get paid 27% on their money, almost 28% on their money, which is a really, really good return. And their cash flow from that specific business will be $195,000. So let's compare that with other, retirement investments. So when I did research, I found out that your average retirement investment, whether it's stocks, bonds, or even multifamily real estate, if you're not using any type of outside financing or leverage, a lot of times you're not going to get too much more than about 6% out of those assets. Whereas this deal in the Abundant Culture Fund nets almost 28%. So let's come up with a situation where you have $500,000 and you invest that into a regular investment portfolio, normal traditional investment portfolio. What would your income be based off of that 6% cash flow or that 6% income? Your income from that would be this $30,000 that you see here. However, if you invest that same $500,000 into my fund and we do that type of deal, your income off of that would actually be $139,000. Significant difference. And actually, it's $109,000 difference. So you will make $109,000 more by investing in a company like that through my fund, as opposed to investing in traditional retirement assets. And the income from that will be actually 466% higher, which is basically 4.6 times higher. Also, let's say you have a goal of retiring off of $60,000 in income in your retirement. In a traditional retirement plan, you will have to have $1 million invested in order to generate that type of income. With Abundant Culture Fund, you would only have to invest $214,000 to get the same income that you would off of $1 million invested in a traditional retirement plan. That's significant. Actually, it's so significant that Abundant Culture Fund would save you $785,000 on your road to retirement. That's $785,000 that you no longer have to invest into retirement. You could do whatever you want with that money. I do advise that you invest some of it, but you don't have to because you're retired. So that concludes our analysis for today. I hope you really enjoyed it. Now keep in mind that our analysis are way, way more in depth than this. This was just kind of like a preliminary evaluation just to give you an idea of what's possible from an income standpoint. But yeah, if you want to learn more, feel free to reach out. If you're somebody who is interested in doubling your retirement income in less time with less investment, less risk, and less fees, reach out to us at abundantculturefund.com. Also, if you're a small business owner who is looking to sell your business so that you can focus on the next phase of your life, also reach out to us at abundantculturefund.com. Thank you and have a great day.